What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Modern Nest Realty Podcast. I'm your host, Darren Swain, the owner and proud broker in charge of Modern Nest Realty, located in downtown Concord on Church Street, and today is episode number 4, New Construction 101. All right, guys, so if you are a real estate agent and you've never dealt with a new construction transaction before, or if you're a first-time home buyer and you're like, Darren, friend, I've never built a house, help me, it seems so scary and confusing, today is the day for you, okay? So, the first and most important thing that I want you guys to understand today is that you need agency. Okay. Now, agency is a tricky word. Everybody gets messed up on it. Agency, guys, is basically a relationship. Okay. Now, you have the right to have an exclusive agency, an exclusive relationship with a buyer's agent. Okay. So, you need to find somebody that is really good in your local area that has experience with new construction that can tell you which builders are building and how long it's going to take, what's available, and stuff like that, of course. But also, guys, major key is for that person to give you exclusive representation throughout the transaction, okay? Now, if you go into a new construction community and you tour it and you visit the sales rep and you don't have an agent yet, 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you that they're not going to pay an agent because the agent wasn't the quote-unquote procuring cause of the sale. Now, you can still have an agent, but a lot of times you're going to have to come out of pocket to pay that agent, okay? So make sure when you're working with me, when it comes to new construction, the agent comes first and the agent is always present with you, okay? In the real estate world, we never want to catch our clients dead touring a new construction community by themselves, okay? So you really want an agent, guys, because you're going to want to know who's building, how long is it taking, what's the price point, all of these things that your agent is going to know if they're, local and experienced and fierce in new construction, but also to give you that exclusive representation throughout the duration of the transaction, okay? New construction, guys, typically takes anywhere between like 6 to 9 months to build a home, so you're going to want an agent with you for the long haul, okay? This isn't a 30-day escrow, type of situation. New construction can take some time if it is not a spec home that is already completed. Okay, so holler if you're with me. Number 1 big rule is make sure that you have an exclusive buyer's agent, guys, representing you in the transaction for your best interest. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the ways that you can do a new construction, okay? So there's 2 major ways, right? You either have a builder who is building in a community, and there's 30, 40, 50 plus homes being built, or you have a private builder who builds on your own land or you purchase a lot and stuff like that. Today, we're going to kind of talk about both just a little bit, but basically, when it comes to building in a community, a lot of times that builder has a relationship, guys, with a lender, and that lender offers a concession or a credit towards the buyer's closing costs if they utilize that lender, okay? So sometimes I've seen these incentives all across the board, anywhere from like 5, 10, 15,000, something like that. So make sure that you guys are aware of that when you are touring new construction with your agent to see what who that builder's preferred lender is and what kind of incentives they offer. Now, sometimes you will have double incentives where if you use the builder's lender, then you will get X amount towards your closing costs, and you'll also get X amount of credit towards design center options. Okay, so different communities always offer different incentives and different stuff like that, guys. When you tour the communities with your agent, you're going to see a couple of things, right? Most of the signs that you see say starting in the low 200s or low 300s or something like that. That is typically what is known as base pricing. Okay? Now, base pricing, guys, is not usually the final sales pricing. Okay, because there's a lot of different things that you can do when you customize this home to make it more expensive, okay? So when you see the base pricing, think that is the starting point of the community. Now, some of the things that you could add on to build this pricing up would be like a lot premium, for instance. Some lots in the communities, they don't have any lot premiums, but some lots are more desirable than others, whether it be like a corner lot or it's a larger lot or it backs up to the trees or, something great like that. Sometimes those lots carry a premium where it's 5,000, 10,000, some odd $1,000 in addition to have that said lot. Okay. Sometimes, if you are building in a community, guys, and there are other homes in progress, you may not be able to get the plan or the design that you like on a particular lot that you like if the neighboring property already has that design or already has that color, so on and so forth. So they want to kind of create a mix within the community to where you don't have like three of the same homes together and then everybody that are the exact same and then everybody else's is completely different, right? So if you're particular on a certain floor plan or like a certain color or anything like that, you want to say that first just to kind of make sure what that looks like and where you can have that home created, okay? The next thing we're going to talk about is going to the design center. That's the fun stuff, guys. When you go to the design center with new construction, you're going to be able to tailor this home the exact way that you want it. You can put a light switch where you want it. You can put a light fixture where you want it. You can add a sink, take away a sink, change doors, change flooring. You never knew that you had so many options until you've built a new construction home, okay? So the design center is the fun part, but when you're touring these communities, guys, try to find out what is like called level 1, okay, or base stuff. Now, things have changed since I started selling real estate. When I started selling real estate, laminate countertops were like a level 1, okay? And then level like 4, you could get granite and stuff like that. Nowadays, things have changed, guys. There's a lot of builders who offer, a great products in the lower levels. So don't be surprised if you go into a new construction community and they're like, level 1, we offer quartz now. So it is becoming more common than not because these builders want to create homes, guys, that people love. And they work with designers and they work with all of these different people to kind of bring in these different materials and let you guys have different options depending on where you're shopping at, okay? So the design center is always the fun part. You don't want to over improve the home. That's the big thing that you need an agent for as well, to make sure that this home is going to appraise, because at the end of the day, the appraiser is the lady that sings at the end, and if she don't hit her note, then nobody's happy, okay? So make sure that you're not, over improving these homes and going crazy in the design center to where they're not going to appraise. Where you need to be cautious of that is definitely in brand new communities. If you're in a brand new community and there's not a lot of comps and stuff like that, you have to be more cautious in over designing and over developing these homes. Because if you don't, then you're not going to appraise. And we all know the appraiser is not going to give you dollar for dollar value for certain things, okay? So, but if you're in a community that's already built homes and stuff, you should feel more confident, but you still want to make sure that your home's price is going to be appropriate for the community. And I'm going to give y'all a for instance, okay? Say you're in a community that all has, 2-car attached garages, okay? And everybody has a 2-car or maybe a 3-car attached garage if it's super fancy, but you decide to build a 1-car detached garage on your new construction home. That's not going to resell as well in the future for you because it doesn't necessarily conform to the rest of the neighborhood, right? So you want to be careful and make sure that you're not overly customizing your home. I've seen people have spent, anywhere from $20,000 to $70,000 in the design center for upgrades and stuff. And some people love the upgrades that they get. And then some people just choose to, really focus on the common areas like the living room and the kitchen and do upgrades in there, maybe upgrades in the primary bedroom and bathroom, and then do, less quality stuff in the secondary bathrooms for the kids or for the guests or something like that. So, you definitely can split it up, guys, and you can do stuff over time. Now, when it comes to electrical and plumbing and, major structural stuff, like patios and additions and doors, doors and stuff, you typically want to have the builder go ahead and do that for you so that you don't have to like tear through drywall and make a bigger mess of, stuff in the future. But that is something that's important to know. Make sure when you're going to the design center, guys, that you are building the home that you love, but you're not over improving the home to where it's not going to appraise, okay? The next thing that I want to share with you guys today is the difference between building a new construction home and buying a residential resale, okay? Buying a residential resale, you're buying an existing home, an older home, or something like that, and typically with that, you're going to use documents that we have crafted by the North Carolina Bar Association and the National Association of Realtors. These documents are readily available. People greatly understand them for the most part. When you go to the new construction world, you're typically going to be signing a custom document that the builder's attorney has drafted for them. Okay, so that's another reason why you need exclusive agency, guys, as a buyer's representative to represent you through the transaction, because all of these builder contracts are going to look different. They're all going to have different hold harmless language in them. They're all going to look different, okay? I have seen new construction contracts that were like 20 pages, and then I've seen some that are like 86 pages, So my rule of thumb is when I am like working with a client and we're touring new construction, I always ask, once they have, decided on the communities that they like, I always ask for the sample contracts from the builder. That way, me and my client can review them. My client can ask me questions. I can answer some questions, but then we can come back to the new construction community for a sit down for our contracts, and we can get those questions answered, because I don't have the answer to everything, believe it or not. And sometimes you really do have to spend the time flipping those pages with your client and not do that in front of the builder's representative, just because you don't want to take up all their time, guys, and you don't want to be learning so many things at one time, okay? You have to let it absorb just a little bit. And also, sometimes these communities are going to have HOAs, guys, and you might want to review the bylaws or the covenants and restrictions and stuff before you decide to put in a contract and then find out that you can't park your boat in, your side yard or something crazy, So that's important too. Make sure that you and your agent are reviewing all of the bylaws. If there's any warranties or protections that are offered from the builder to warrant the home, that's good to check out, guys. So the next part we're going to talk about is the construction phase and what that looks like, okay, and what to expect. All right, so your first phase is really the permitting phase. That's where the builder takes the plans and they get permits for them. They have the setbacks. They know exactly how big the home's going to be, which way the home's going to face, all that kind of stuff. They have utilities and stuff, getting figured out, all that great stuff. So after you have your permits and stuff, then you're going to move into like the foundation phase, okay? Typically here, that you're going to see lots of slab foundation homes. You may see a new construction with a basement home, or you may see a crawl space, but typically they're going to be slab foundations for the most part. And the next phase after the foundation is going to be your framing. So after the foundation is poured and done or dug out, completed if it's a basement, then you're going to have framing that's going to go on, and then we're going to have like roof and siding and windows and stuff like that. Then we're going to have rough ends, guys. Rough ends are your rough plumbing and electrical and gas and stuff like that for the home. They're not fully, fixtured out yet, but you have the rough ends for that. Then we're going to want to have a pre-drywall inspection. Okay, so if you didn't know this, now you do, but 90% of the structural components that actually make up the home, guys, they are concealed once the drywall is hung on the walls. Okay, so in working with new construction, a lot of people are like, do I need a home inspection? Yes, you do. And they offer 2 inspections for new construction, a pre-drywall and a post-drywall with most inspection companies. And you are, of course, going to pay more for that because it is more intensive and it is more services, to have 2 inspections. However, once that drywall is up, guys, a lot of the major stuff you're never going to see again unless you bust through the drywall and get to be able to access the framing and the joist and, all that good stuff like that. So pre-drywall inspection is very important, guys. And then after the drywall, you're going to have more lighting, you're going to have more fixtures, stuff like that, tile, you may have flooring, you may have cabinets. My rule of thumb, once the cabinets are in the new construction, typically you're closing in a couple weeks. Once we start seeing cabinets on the walls, we're like, yes, we're getting so close. But then you're going to have more finishes like your countertops, your faucets, your switches, stuff like that. I know that was like a very, very quick walkthrough of the new construction process in that we said it in like 5 seconds and it takes, 9 months. But that is essentially what the process looks like step by step. Anytime that you go back and check on the home that you have being built, you want to be with your agent. You want to make sure that you have the permission of the builder, guys, because it's dangerous to go into these new construction communities. Raise your hand at home if you're a real estate agent and you've ever got a flat tire or trip and fell at a new construction community walking in the mud. So make sure that you are getting permission. You don't want to get hurt or be a liability to yourself. And you don't want to get in people's way. When they are, bringing in windows or bringing in huge sheets of material, you don't want to be, oohing and ahhing everywhere because it's not necessary. But make sure you're doing that. Now, when it comes to after paint and finishes and everything is done, typically with new construction, you're going to have a builder's walkthrough, okay? And that is where y'all take like the blue painter's tape and you go around and you make the house look like it has chicken pox with all of the little blue pieces of tape everywhere where there's an imperfection, whether there needs to be, a paint touch-up or a drywall touch-up or a grout touch-up or, anything and everything gets a piece of painter's tape, and that is the sign for the punch list people to go back in and to hit those items, okay, so they can see exactly, where they need to go in and fix stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope it was refreshing. I hope you feel better when it comes to new construction. If you a great agent to represent you in a new construction transaction, definitely reach out to my office. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.